All right, we're live on a Monday afternoon. Hopefully the connection is stable enough. I don't have the best service. I actually brought some coffee with me this evening. See who all jumps in. It's hot out. Yes, it is. It's most definitely hot out. What's going on, Jason? Yeah, it's pretty warm out, Chris. And I don't want to sit here and just run my vehicle, right? Waste gas just sitting here for the next hour and a half. So I got my windows rolled down. I did find a spot in the shade, so that's nice. But it's hot. Got my coffee also. Hot coffee when it's hot. It's a good combination. Oh, me. Hopefully everybody's having a good Monday. Even though it is hot, it is, I'm starting to get the itch on corn heat effect here. I am starting to get the itch to get in the deer woods. So I've started watching, I went back and started watching the hunting public, their deer tour 2023. So they uploaded their first video for the deer tour last year on August 31st. So today's August, what's today, 5th? August 5th? Holy cow, it's already August 5th. So we should start to see some deer tour action, hopefully in the very near future, from the hunting public. But I've started watching that to kind of get back in the swing of things. Really looking forward to deer season. I actually prepped some brass today, just sort of in preparation for it. And I also changed the stock on the Ramesa. So Chris, that's, shout out to him. He came up with the name on that rifle. But I swapped the stock out on it today. I had changed, so it's a Remington 700. It's the CDL that I did the barrel swap on, and changed it over to a 6.5 Creedmoor. And I had it in an AG composite stock, but that stock was not made for that particular rifle. So even though it worked, it was really made for something else. So what I did was I sanded down the barrel channel. What's going on, Zach? Sanded down the barrel channel in that Remington 700 stock, that wood stock, to where it could fit. So now I've got the Ramesa back in the original Remington 700 CDL stock. Now I did sand it quite a bit, and of course, me being me, I jacked up the stock. People that, you know, whatever, people that like to put their guns in a display case and never touch them should not watch my channel. I'm gonna end up showing a video of what the stock looks like now, and I scratched up that walnut stock pretty good, so good stuff there. But I swapped it back over to the wood stock. Now it's a 6.5 Creedmoor. I need to get some brass prepped. I want to see how it shoots, because it was shooting lights out in that AG composite stock. But I took the AG composite stock and put it back on my Remington 700 tactical in 300 blackout. That's what it was designed for. That's what the stock was built around, was that platform. So Zach, I know I told you I would give you that 300 blackout barrel, but I might I might have lied to you. I don't know if I'm gonna get rid of that just yet because I might be getting a suppressor in the very near future. So I know I told you I'd send it to you, and I probably still will at some point, just not anytime soon. Outdoor generalist. It's kind of hard to say that when you talk like you got a mouthful of marbles, which is what I do. Itching to hunt as well. Got to get my bow back out. Oh my man, no kidding. That's the thing. I've got to start practicing with my bow. No, I told you I'd give you the barrel, so it's gonna happen at some point in time. I'm definitely not gonna be that guy where I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll do it, and then I won't do it. It's just I've been dragging my feet, so been dragging my feet quite a bit on that. Jason went to the range recently. My dad's 300 Win Mag broke my Primo's shooting rest. So that is something that I've been looking at here lately. What is a good shooting rest? I'm more worried about at the range because I've got a Bog Death Grip tripod that I use in the field as much as possible. That thing works amazing, by the way. It's on the heavy side, and I think they make more of a lightweight version. I've got the very heavy setup, but man, that thing works amazingly well. If you're set up in a spot where you can actually make it work, it's a no-brainer. But for you guys that shoot off a bench, what is y'all's preferred front rest? Because I'm looking at the Caldwell, what is it, the Rock? Is that what it's called? I don't know. Front rest, it's like their bench rest. I don't want to call it bench rest. I don't even think that's a good way to put it, but I've been looking at that one. Not Primos, that's funny. Turn it into a hog slayer. Well, that's my plan, actually. So I've got a 1-4. I've got a Bushnell Elite 4500 optic on it right now. It's a 1-4. It's a really nice package. I like the way that thing feels and looks as far as the overall aesthetics of the rifle itself. It's got that AG composite stock on there. It's got the short, 16-inch barrel. Again, chambered in 300 blackout. It's threaded so I can suppress it in a bolt action, so it's going to be super quiet. That's really my plan. Okay, so yeah, and I think that's where I saw it on your videos. That's what you use. You use the Caldwell front rest, right, Zach? Let's see, Jason, I use G5 dead meat. What broadhead y'all use? I'm using I can't think of the name now. Oh Lord, it escapes me. I know, so it's very similar to the one that the Ranch Fairy came out with. You know how he came out with that kind of like that tri-blade broadhead? I think he came out with it last year. But there's another one. It's like Three Rivers Archery, maybe. It might be those guys. I don't know. It's a tri-blade, but it's a one solid piece, right? That's what I've got. Okay, Reloading Quest said, yep. All right, yeah, I think I'm just gonna break down and buy it. I keep seeing them on sale, like at Midway. They've got the Rock front rest and then like a rear bag combo. They seem pretty inexpensive, which I shoot off bags now, but I think I need a better front rest setup. Jared says, if you were to point aggressively at the camera and say anything, I'd believe it. Well, then guess what? You need to believe in God, accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. How about that? Go believe that. I dare you to believe that. But yeah, that's the broadhead that I used last year. I didn't kill anything last year. And I actually do love to bow hunt more than I love to gun hunt. I think that if more people just, especially if you gun hunt, if you would just give bow hunting a try, just that, like trying to get that close to an animal is, it's a different adrenaline rush altogether. Like it's just absolutely different. Solid front rest, give rear bags where it's at for accuracy. I used to use a bipod like that's what I used to use quite a bit. And I've got a couple of bipods, and I would just swap them out from one gun to the next. And that's what I did at my range day. And then I got to where I just kind of got tired of swapping the bipods, right? So I just set up my bags, and I got tired of swapping bipods, and I was like, well, I'll just start shooting off bags. And so I like doing that. I like doing that better. But the problem is, so I've got 3 bags that I use. I've got a rear bag, and then I got 2 up front. I've kind of got a short, thin bag, and then I've got a taller bag. So I have to stack them on top of each other to get everything lined up properly. Well, just under recoil and stuff, that they kind of move around a little bit. That's why I'm looking at replacing the front bags with that Caldwell rest. So outdoor generalist, I shoot off Caldwell rest with a, okay, you have protector leather inserts, okay, but I'm in the market one with smoother adjustments. Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem, because if you're looking for front rest, it just doesn't seem like there's many options out there in terms of like a budget oriented front rest option. I look at the Caldwell as a budget option, right? I think you can get that front rest. I think I saw Cabela's had them for like $110 or something like that. So I consider that more of a budget oriented setup. So that's probably going to be the next equipment purchase. We'll see. Hopefully get this per diem money from that last TDY, and then who knows what'll happen then. But I got some 30 Thompson center brass prep today, so I got that done. I got some 308 prep today. That'll be going for I've got an AR-10 that I just picked up here recently, probably within the last month, picked it up. It'll be going for that project. And then I've got to prep my Lapua, my 6.5 Creedmoor brass. Once I get that stuff prepped, I'm going to be loading it with the 130 grain CX bullet, the Hornady CX, those pulled bullets that I got from American Reloading. That's what I'll be testing next in 6.5 Creedmoor. So we'll see how that goes. Any tips for bow hunting pigs from a climber? Got winded by them twice last year. Ugh, that's pretty tough. I don't specifically pigs are more of an opportunity for us, right? For me and like my dad, my brother, and so like we've gone purposely hog hunting in the past, but it's only been a handful of times, and I always just go with a rifle, so I don't really have any tips for you on that one, not for bow hunting. That's a good question, because I don't focus in on hunting pigs, and so for me it's simply deer hunting, right? It would be, hey, if pigs show up, yeah, it wasn't out for pigs, bow hunting for deer, but they showed up, yeah, and they winded you, huh? Yeah, no, I don't have any tips on that one. I am not the pig hunting expert, unfortunately, or a deer hunting expert, not that either. I would say if they get within halfway decent bow range, sling an arrow at them. Because on those, like, yeah, you definitely want to kill the pig, but with that bow, you put a decent shot on there, on the pig, somewhere remotely close to the vitals, and it'll run off and be a dead pig. So that's the best outcome, is a dead pig. I'll put it this way, I wouldn't be as hesitant to take a shot on a pig versus a deer. a deer, right, when I'm bow hunting, like it's going to be a very narrow margin that I think would be an acceptable shot on a deer for me personally, because I'm not that great with a bow, so my range is pretty limited. Um, but on a pig, I'd probably let it fly. Reloading quest, leave for Africa in 18 days, dude. Hey, make sure. I mean, you need to have a ton of external battery packs, because what I need you to do is take like 1,000,000 photos, videos, whatever you got to do. So make sure you got plenty of external battery packs. So your phone, your camera, whatever you're taking, you know, go buy a video camera just for that trip, something. That's awesome. I'm excited for you. I'm getting excited because you're going. Like that's gonna be a trip of a lifetime, dude. That's amazing. Getting a lot of practice in on it. It's different. It is very different shooting off a tripod. I learned that for sure. I used that Bog Death Grip a couple of times last season, and it was the first time I'd ever used that setup. I always just use like shooting sticks or something in the past, and so like locking my gun into that Bog Death Grip, that's the first time I did it, was last year. And then of course I killed those 2 pigs in Texas using that setup, that same exact setup. It's just different. It's something you got to get used to, you know, because I primarily shoot off a bench, right? I'm going and doing a lot of testing at the range, so 90% of my shooting is that way. Most of my shots will be standing. So it's way different. It's a different animal altogether. So if that's what you're gonna use to hunt with, just speaking in general, you know, to anyone else that's looking at getting a really good tripod, that Bog Death Grip, if you get one of those, make sure, take it to the range, try it out, put your gun in there, lock it in, and get some shots down range, just so you can get the feel for, you know, how that looks, how that feels when you go to actually pull the trigger. It's different. Now it's really nice when you're sitting in like a shooting house, or you're sitting in a ground blind, and you got plenty of time and you can move around, and you're not worried about the deer seeing you or the animal seeing you or getting spooked or anything like that, and you can really focus in on, you know, making a good shot with that thing. But if you're just out on the edge of a field like I was, and I had that first pig come in, I mean, it was 10 yards or whatever it was, you know, super close, and I'm sitting here trying to turn the gun so I can get on it and shoot it. It was a different ball game entirely. Reloading quest, most of my shooting on game is prone or kneeling with a tripod. Funis, I think that's how you pronounce that. The Bog really threw off my aim. Upgraded to a Radian from Vortex with the ball head and Arca lock, and it seemed to do a lot better. Oh, okay, that's good to know. Well, what's going on, 67 Rebel? Good afternoon. Yep, good afternoon, everyone. Which I guess is good afternoon until, I don't know what time it turns evening, right? I don't know when you transition from afternoon to evening. I don't know what the generally accepted time is. Do you think components will ever go back down in price? So the components that are going down in price are the bullets. That's what's going down in price right now. So you can go on Midway, and just in general, I'm seeing more and more stuff get, you know, put on sale. They're running deals. Mid-South Shooter Supply, they'll do, you know, where they'll bundle like brass and bullets and stuff. They'll package stuff together and sell it for, you know, pretty good prices. Those for sure, I think we'll start to see. I think we'll start to see the prices on bullets come back down, which is a good thing, because that's what kills the animal. So you definitely got to buy that. The problem, yeah, TC's back in business. Hey, what's going on, Jeff? Yeah, I heard that. That one dude, I can't think of his name, that dude bought Thompson Center, and hopefully they're bringing it back to to its glory, former glory. But as far as powder and primers go, I got to be honest. I don't think we're gonna see the days of like $25 a pound for powder. $20 and $25 per pound for powder, like you were seeing with the Shooters World stuff when it came onto the scene back, I don't know, handful of years ago, whatever it was. And you could buy it, no joke, you could buy it at Mid-South Shooter Supply for like $20 a pound, $22 a pound for a lot of their stuff. Like they were practically, they always ran deals with Shooters World where it was like free hazmat, free shipping. They're always, back in the day, they were always running sales on that stuff. Now, that's not the case, and I don't think it'll be the case moving forward. Like, it's just, the stuff is overpriced. On top of that, we're in an election year, so they're going to blame that. People are going to go out and panic buy yet again, just because it's an election year. So you're going to see prices probably stay the same. Now, not really to drag politics into it, because I hate talking about politics because it's kind of useless, to be honest with you. But if Trump gets elected, if he gets in office, then I think you'll probably see maybe prices trend downward over the long run, maybe over the 4 years, right? I think you would see prices maybe start to drop a little bit if it goes the opposite direction, and you get somebody in there that's pro gun control and restrictive on the Second Amendment. It's going to be more political, I think, on top of it being an election year. I think depending on which way the election goes, prices will adjust accordingly, up or down. But as far as going like for powder, like buying Hodgson powder for $30 and $35 a pound, that's done. Those days are gone. I can ramble on and on about that, but Funis primers, I think primers, I believe everyone saw just how critical of a component that became, and you literally couldn't find them. I mean, you found powder, brass, bullets, you found everything before you could find primers. And so I think that those probably won't come back down in price. I think those will stay elevated, probably forever. I mean, you might catch them on sale from time to time, but yeah, it's going to be elevated from here on out. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of primers sit on the shelf now. Like, I was in Cabela's the other day, and I posted on my Instagram, I took a picture of the Starline brass that was in stock at Cabela's, at my local Cabela's. And that's the most Starline brass I'd ever seen, or not ever seen, excuse me. That was the most Starline brass I had seen since the pandemic, right? Since the COVID, whatever, supply chain issues. That's the most I've seen on the shelf in terms of volume and variety of cartridges. So that was great to see. And same thing on the primer front. There were a lot of large pistol Magnum. There were no large rifle, but you did have small rifle Magnum, small pistol. Yeah, you basically had everything but large rifle sitting on the shelf. So it's definitely getting better. But like I said, the fact that it's an election year, you see something and you need it, you're better off just going ahead and picking it up. I mean, just go ahead and do it. Funis, we're seeing $25 for a card of primers. I'm assuming you mean a sleeve, so that'd be 100 primers. You're seeing $25 for 100 primers. I would imagine that's what you're saying. I believe it. And they still sold out at that price. Yep. And they'll keep selling out as long as people need them or think they need them or are panic buying. People will justify spending whatever they have to spend to make that happen. I wish IMR would bring back the Enduron line. Yeah, no kidding. Heterodox. I don't know how you pronounce that. Sorry. Primers with the bottleneck. Oh yeah, most definitely. KM. What's going on? Just left a Jimmy Dore stream to come here. Primers on sale. I don't know who Jimmy Dore is, but you definitely don't have to leave there to come here. But I appreciate it. Primers on sale at American Reloading. Yeah, American Reloading, that's definitely, if you guys are not shopping at American Reloading, then you guys are not, you're not doing yourself any favors, I promise you. Go to American Reloading, and if they have something you need, buy it. I can vouch, because I've had a couple people be like, is that a legit website? Because their prices are generally so much lower than anything else you're going to find. Yes, very much legit. So go check them out. There's no affiliation with them or anything like that. Like I don't direct people to that website so I can try to get some kickback or anything. It's none of that. It's just, it's a great resource right now for people that are into hand loading and you can't find what you need. Go shop there and see what they have. They've closed most of the lead mines. Well, yeah, that way we can save the planet. Come on, guys, you know better. We gotta save Mother Earth. Chris saw some new White River brand primers online. Oh, okay, well that's good. 67 Rebel. Haven't seen large rifle Magnum primers for 3 years till this weekend and was limited to 2 boxes. So 2 bricks or 2 100 count sleeves. So yeah, I hadn't seen them in a while either. I got lucky. This was back last year probably. Mr. Big Guns, a local gun store called Mr. Big Guns in Huntsville, Alabama, they got in a really big shipment of the CCI number 34, which is the military version of the large rifle primer. So a lot of people are familiar with the CCI 41, the military version of the small rifle primer. And it's supposedly like a little bit more of a Magnum style primer with a harder cup as well. So I picked up a bunch of those and I kind of used those in place of Magnum primers for a while, but got lucky and found a bunch here recently and was able to pick up a lot. So I'm good on the Magnum front, and large rifle front, I'm good on that as well for a long time. We'll leave it at that. Long time. 67 Rebel. We got 3 bricks of large rifle Magnum primers come into the shop the past 2 years. All 3 went to staff and never saw. Oh yeah, I believe it. And that's exactly what was going on at Cabela's. I guarantee it. Like at Mr. Big Guns, I mean, I'm really good friends with the owner, right? So I'm constantly, hey, you know, what's going on with the primer situation? You know, he would let me know, hey, we got some coming in, but for the most part, it was all small rifle stuff, which I'm super stocked up on small rifle primers, so that was never really a concern for me. But there for a little while, my large rifle stock dwindled next to nothing. So it was getting down to kind of some critical levels, and then got lucky and he got a bunch in. So been a while since I caught a live stream. What's up with the 7 SAUM? Hi, KM. It has been a while then. So the 7 SAUM has now turned into a 280 Ackley improved. That is the 7mm cartridge that I am gonna go with. That's the one I settled on. I know now. I am 100% positive I will own a 7 SAUM at some point in time. But I picked up a 7mm barrel. It's a 1 in 8 twist, I think. 1 in 8, maybe. I can't remember. I got to go back and double check. But I picked up a barrel from our good buddy Derek, who, I mean, you guys have seen him in the stream all the time. Like he's a really good friend now. I actually got to meet him in person when I went up. There he is, Derek. Speaking of Derek. Got to meet him in person when I went up to, it's a 1 in 9. Okay, I couldn't remember. When I went to Ohio, I was able to meet up with Derek, bought a barrel off of him. And that is going for a 280 Ackley project. So that's but I will own a 7 SOM. That is still a cartridge that I think is an absolute killer. But in the 7s, it's like I don't think you can throw a rock and hit a good 7mm cartridge. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. But I'm gonna go with a 280 Ackley to start with. Stand by. This happened to me the other day. Y'all hang tight. I need to. So I was doing a live stream the other day. Some of you guys might have been on it, but I was doing a live stream and all of a sudden the live stream ended. Well, that's because my phone overheated. So I'm just worried that it's going to do the exact same thing. So, because I had the windows down and I'm just sitting here live streaming, and the phone, it literally got so hot the other day when I was live streaming. That's why it just ended randomly. So if you guys were wondering, that's exactly why. It just, my phone shut off. It said it was like an emergency mode because it was overheating. So it just shut off. And I was like, well, I'm not even going to bother firing back up and doing a follow on for the live stream. So, but yeah, so the 7 SOM turned into the 280 Ackley, which what my plan is to take my Tikka T3X that's chambered in 270 Winchester right now. It's got the laminate stock, which I really, really like. I'm actually going to have Meredith Rifles convert that from that cartridge. That's going to be my 280 Ackley platform. It's going to be the Tikka T3X. So the action's already, it's a dynamite action. The adjustable trigger in there is a phenomenal factory adjustable trigger. One of the best factory triggers period, just that you can have in a gun. So I think it's a really good platform to start with, and so that's what I'm going to go with. Have him just turn it into a 280. That's the plan. So yeah, you're all caught up because I've got the barrel, but I haven't done anything with it. So, but I've got the barrel. That's step one, right? You got to get the barrel first before you can do anything else. And I had to make a decision on what the platform was that I was going to go with. I couldn't decide if I wanted to buy a custom action and like sink a ton of money into this thing, and get a stock and do all this other stuff. But again, talking with Derek, because he's done this a million times now at this point, he made a pretty strong case for if you've got a Tikka. I mean, those things are they're just really solid actions to build off of, right? And so he made a really good point. And that's probably my most budget-friendly option, to be honest with you. So that's what I'm going to do. 6.7 Rebel sleeves. I got to get it caught up, guys. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Jason, last year, found Winchester large rifle primers at Academy for $35 a brick. Grabbed 2. Should have grabbed more. Same thing happened to me. They were supposed to sell them individually in sleeves, but my buddy stopped by there just to see what they had. And they had a brick, and they were supposed to break it down and sell it by the sleeve, but they didn't. They just rang up the whole brick, and it rang up $40. I think they were large rifle magnums. Rang up, I think that's what they were. Rang up like $40, and I was like, "Yep, buy them. If they got any more, buy them." But they didn't. That was all they had. So should have grabbed more. Always grab more. When you come across that kind of a deal, always grab more. 6.7 Rebel. I live in Alaska. Who's saying that to Funes? Yeah, Derek's 1 in 9. That's the best for 280 Ackley. KM 280 Ackley. Have you been watching The Real Gunsmith here on YouTube? He was friend of Bill Ackley, likes his calibers. No, I've seen some of his videos. I haven't watched a ton of his stuff, but it's just, I'm a huge 280 Remington fan, or 7mm Express, whichever nomenclature you want to go with. I'm a huge fan of that cartridge. And yeah, the 280 Ackley is such a great 7mm round. Derek, my third 280 Ackley is in process. Funes, so Barnes is custom loading those 280 Ackleys with LRX you can't buy on the market. They load the box rounds with 151 grain, and hand loaders can only buy the 145 and the 168. KM overheated phone. Sure you ain't hacked, but yeah, no kidding. I mean, it definitely could be. Funis listened to Barnes on podcast today, and they literally still doing development on 7PRC for release at SHOT Show, which will again be the one we can't buy. Oh, are you talking about on their on the Vortex podcast? Is that where you listen to the Barnes guys? I was listening to that earlier. That was a good podcast. Derek Funis correct. It's a 151 or 152. I called Barnes on that. They also have 7PRC coming out with a 160. Yeah, 160. KM Tikka action. This is Jerry Wayne live states Diamond Gem certified. Derek at Derek 100%. This is from Funis. Ran into issues with the 168s personally. Derek, I saw it first on Gun Broker. Couldn't remember exact grain weight. Oh, what's going on Alaskan Ballistics? I'm just trying to get caught up, so sorry. I'm running behind on all these comments. I started rambling. Yeah, go listen. So on the Vortex podcast that they put out today, either today or yesterday, they had a couple of guys from Barnes Bullets on there. It was a really good listen. I haven't listened to the full episode, but I'm over halfway through. It's a really good episode. With Barnes, so Derek says with Barnes, I stick with light to very light per caliber. He said, hey to Alaskan Ballistics. Funis, yep, but it hurts to drop down to 145 and a 7PRC for use with elk and moose. Alaskan Ballistics, that 30 cal tip TSX 130 grain Barnes is a heck of a bullet. Yeah, that's what Ryan talks about on the podcast today. Like he keeps reiterating his love for that 130 grain in a 308, pushing it at 3150, I believe is what he said out of his Kimber. He kills everything with that. That's his favorite combination. Derek, I like the lighter LRX. I load 139s and one of his 280 Ackley's. Alaskan Ballistics, Funis 145 grain LRX is a great hunting bullet. I agree. Anything Barnes, I gotta be honest with you, Barnes stuff is really, really good. Derek, I watched most of that Vortex today. I've got the 145 LRX for 7 rim mag. Funis correct, but 145 and a 7PRC with 1 and 8 twist. Correct. Heard more about it on that Vortex podcast today. Derek, I got a 28 left-hand Nosler custom on watch on Gun Broker. Seller said 145 LRX lights out, accurate 20 rounds through it. So it's a 28 Nosler. I wonder why they're getting rid of it. Yeah, probably because it punches them right in the face. They're probably like, oh man, this thing recoils a lot. I gotta put a new barrel on it after 800 rounds. I don't want it anymore. Alaskan Ballistics, I've got 145 grain LRX over max charge reloader 22. Nice. Derek, yep, 3,200 feet per second, 130 grain tip TSX, and all of my 308s over 50 grains of tack. So do y'all have good luck using ramshot tack in 308? I've never had, like, that's never been a lights out powder for me. I haven't had luck in any 308s that I've tried ramshot tack. It's shot okay, right? So I think that's probably what I need to preface it by saying, is that it's always shot okay for, you know, for me. I just need something to go hunt whitetail in Alabama with. It doesn't need to be a precision, you know, it ain't got to be a half MOA gun. But I've never had the best luck shooting ramshot tack in 308. Funis gets me about it that the Barnes guys are literally making a bullet with different me-plat and ogive for the 7PRC than the other 284s. Pretty much means the existing two aren't optimal. They wouldn't do it for no reason. Oh yeah, making it, yeah, and that's they I think they touched on that for in the 30 cal option also. I think they were talking about that 208 grain 30 cal bullet that they designed specifically around the 300 PRC. They released that bullet for that cartridge. Now, obviously, you can use it in other stuff if you've got the proper twist rate and all that in your 30 cal, but like they released it, or they designed that bullet around being used in the 300 PRC. Yeah, 28 Nosler. He's reducing his collection. I mean, 28 Nosler, that's a heck of a round. He sold several very nice left-hand rifles he had built. Oh, okay. Man, there's been an influx at my local Cabela's of left-hand rifles. I was in there the other day looking at what they had in their used gun section in the store. And the guy was like, yeah, we got a bunch of left-handed stuff in. We just bought a whole lot, you know, off of a guy. I can't remember if he passed away and it was like his collection or something, but it was the most left-handed guns I'd ever seen at one time. It was insane. It had to be 10 to 15 left-handed guns sitting on the shelf in the used gun section. Some really, really nice ones too. I'm talking, he had some nice left-handed. I was like, man. He actually had a left-handed Winchester Model 70 with a nice walnut stock chambered in 7 Wisdom. And it caught my eye. I was like, oh boy, I'm a huge fan of that cartridge. It's like, but it's left-handed. So I left it alone. And they don't do layaway anymore, which is kind of frustrating because what they want you to do is they want you to get their Cabela's credit card and buy the gun with their credit card. That's their layaway program. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. It's frustrating they did away with their layaway program. TAC is the bomb. Derek, but my 308s are either Tikka or have benchmark Brooks cut rifle barrels. Yeah, I would say that's a factor because none of my 308s did. They were all factory, you know, CVA Cascade, what was Howa 1500. I mean, none of them were like terrible, but I've never, let's see, what else did I have? I think a Thompson Center Compass, Ruger American. Yeah, I've had a handful of 308s. Funis 208, yes. Derek, until August 8th, we have tax-free Ohio purchases. I think I'm going to buy a lot more LRX bullets, including 30 cal 175s for my 300 Wisdom. I actually have, I think, maybe 4 boxes of those. Really, I'm coming to Alabama soon. Are you talking about the? Oh yeah. You need to go in. I mean, I doubt a lot of them are going to sell. I mean, you know, it doesn't seem like left-handed bolt guns are kind of doesn't seem like those fly off the shelf. So yeah, you need to stop in and check out what they have over at Cabela's in Huntsville. Jeff, 130 grain Barnes in a 308, 30-06. You use hybrid V100. Okay, I picked up a couple of pounds of hybrid V. I think you were the one that kept mentioning it, like, hey, you need to get some when you can find it. That was the other powder I picked up. So I picked up, I think it was 2 pounds of hybrid 100V and 2 pounds of Winchester 760. This was way back months ago when I was at Vans Outdoor, or Vans Sporting Goods, whatever it is, in Coleman, Alabama. Both of those powders were like 37 a pound and 38 a pound. So I picked up both of them because they were under 40 bucks a pound. Now with tax, I think they were just over 40, but still, I picked them up because they were some of the cheapest powders you could buy that they had sitting on the shelf. So Derek, let me know any lefties that might be interested in a nice Tikka custom or full custom. I need to consider thinning the herd. I can only imagine what your herd looks like, brother. I can only imagine. I know how Cabela's Bass Pro works. If it's used, whatever price is on it, they paid half that. Oh yeah, most definitely. Those things are marked up. You know those things are marked up big time over there. Alaskan Ballistics Hybrid 100V have been accurate for me, but does not get advertised velocity. What cartridge are you shooting that in? if you don't mind me asking. Because again, I only picked up Hybrid 100V because Jeff kept mentioning it in all the live streams I was doing back, I think in the spring. Either that, or you might have been posting it on some of the videos I made as well, where I believe you were commenting about Hybrid 100V, and so I literally picked up a couple of pounds because of Jeff, so I blame Jeff for that purchase. But it would be good to know what cartridge you guys are having really good luck with it in. Jeff, I think you said 308 and 30-06, so Winchester 760 is an excellent powder. Yeah, I've had good luck with it. Funis, doing load development, I tried quite a few in 7PRC. The ELDX exploding, yeah, it's funny. Still separates at even 2600 impact velocity. The Hornady CX don't expand almost at all with that speed, and the LRX looks great. Derek, including for 30-06, Funis, and that's recovery from a berm, not even gel. Huh. Can I get a huh? I hear you, Tyler. What's going on, brother? Funis. Derek says, Funis, that's good intel. The 175 ELDX was flawless for me on Alabama deer in several 7 PRCs. I'm telling you, I'm gravitating away from ELDX. Well, I was never really on board with ELDX bullets, but I'm definitely moving further away from even using them as a recommendation. If someone wants to ask, hey, what do I need to go shoot, right? I want to go hunt. What bullet do I need? It's becoming more and more a solid copper is the option that I keep telling them. Now, whether that is a Barnes, a McGuire Ballistics, a Maker Rex, what's the other? I think North Fork bullets. I think they have a solid copper option. I mean, you can get like a Nosler, right? Get an E-tip or Hornady CX. I mean, getting away from, I don't know. I seem to be moving away from more of the traditional style hunting bullets. Derek, same with 180 grain ELDM. Funis at Derek, oh, they do good damage, but on the whitetails and muleys up here, usually find the cup on the hide on opposite shoulder and random lead exit wound, usually out of the top of the back. Jeff, you retracted a message. You must have been bullying somebody. You decided not to leave it out there. Good for you. Funis, if you hunt for your food, I'd rather not feed my family the lead from deer rounds. They got enough from the lead shot shells for chickens. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Let me check my phone here. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right. This thing cooled back off big time. I've got a little magnet deal that you just put in your vent or whatever. I bought it at Lowe's, and it holds the phone, so just let the AC blow on it for a little bit. Good to go. So the thing is this, for me, I honestly don't care what a bullet looks like, its weight, etc. If I'm tagging the game, in my experience, the cheapest lead core from Federal Blue Box Power Shot. Federal Fusions, man, that's another great. Now, so if I'm going lead core bullet, then I'm going with a bonded style bullet. Derek says at some point I have to look at expense versus necessity. Yep, definitely. Federal Fusion is a bonded spirit. Exactly. Here's the way I look at it. Whether they want to come out and say it or not, I feel like that's a gold dot. Okay, I feel like that is basically a gold dot. Okay, that's because you go and buy gold dots, they're actually pretty reasonably priced for a bonded bullet. I mean, if they make the gold dot in the caliber or the diameter that you're shooting and you can get away with using it, I'd go with a gold dot. If you don't want to use a solid copper. Those gold dots are awesome. Derek, I have boxes and boxes of Federal Factory Fusion. It shoots poorly in every single rifle I've tried, sadly. I've got a ton of... Hang on 2 seconds. Let me... I don't want to sit here and just run my gas for, you know, burn a bunch of gas just sitting here. It's cooled back off, so I should be good for a little while. Jeff said the last deer was 338-06 with a 285 ELDM. Oh, and I've got a bunch of those pulled Federal Fusion bullets. I'm pretty sure in 7mm actually. When I bought the 7mm premium mix off of American Reloading, I got a ton of, the first time. The second time when I bought the premium mix, I got a ton of Federal Terminal Ascent and that type of stuff. I got amazing stuff the second time. The first time I got, the vast majority of it were Federal Fusions, which are good bullets. They're bonded bullets, but you know, that one doesn't jump to, you know, the top of my list in terms of a premium, what I would consider a premium hunting bullet, but it's really good. Outdoor Generalist, I love the gold dots. Problem is they're very seldom available. What do you need? Do you need some of those, Outdoor Generalist? Because I picked up a bunch of the 120 grain in 6.5. I know you shoot the Grendel, so if you need some of those, you can hit me up on Instagram. Just shoot me a message and we can figure something out. I actually bought a bunch of those, I think, up there when I was with Derek. I bought them because you're right, you don't see them. So I don't think I've got a bunch of the 140s. I might only have a box or two of the 140s left, but I've got a bunch of, so I've got a bunch of, I think, the 55 grain and 224 diameter. I think I got like 500 of those maybe. And I got a bunch of the 120 grain and 6.5 diameter. And I got probably more than that in 308 and the 168 grain. So Outdoor Generalist, if you need any of those, just hit me up. Derek, but the accuracy be okay out to 200 yards. Yeah, Funis did up a few rifles for friends that wanted to shoot the Federal ammo and found the velocities were consistent with the FPS on the box too. Now that is something that I've seen over time, is the Federal factory ammo seems to be, the box posted velocity seems to be pretty consistent, right? Or at least in my experience, seems to be pretty accurate. What's going on, John? Derek, it would group about 5 inch at that distance though. Yeah, it's not great. Kevin Dewberry in the house. That is, that's the man right there, guys. Kevin Dewberry is the man. Associate Pastor, Sheepgate Christian Fellowship. Y'all come on out and see us sometime. Derek, hello. Kevin, John, Outdoor Generalist. Derek, I just got a like new in box left-hand Tikka Hunter 708 planning. Oh, that's with the wood stock, isn't it? Isn't the Tikka Hunter with the wood stock? Outdoor Generalist. Oh, I've got plenty 120, 140s. Oh, okay, yeah. Bought a bunch. Yep. Oh, no worries. So yeah, if you end up burning through a bunch, just reach out, because I probably won't shoot them for a long time. Actually, I'd like to get another 6.5 Grendel. I just haven't done it yet. But that's why I bought those 120s. I was like, okay, I'll get a 6.5 Grendel eventually, because in the 6.5 Creedmoor, I'm pretty much set on. I really like that 140 grain Spear Impact that they came out with. I like that in 6.5 Creedmoor. I really like the 127 grain Barnes LRX. I really like the 125 grain McGuire Ballistics Copper Rose Hollow Point. So there's bullets that I already really like in 6.5 Creedmoor. On top of the Spear Gold Dot, killed an 8-point with that 140. This was a few years back. That's a great bullet. It's just, there's so many awesome bullets in 6.5. Derek just got 500 of the 143 grain Norma Bond Strike. Nice. Derek, my son is a youth pastor. That's awesome. Yes, Woodstock. Okay, I thought that was the case. Derek, I'm going to try to visit Dad next weekend in Huntsville. We'll certainly check out the left-hand rifles they obtained. Yeah, let me know when you're down here. You said next weekend, though. What's next weekend? Yeah, let me know when you come down. Yep. Just give me a shout. But yeah, that's kind of the state of things going on with the reloading stuff. I had some really good luck with, I know last time we talked, we were talking about this guy. I don't know if it'll focus, probably won't. Nope, doesn't look like it will. Hello, 7 rim mag, blue primer. We talked about this last time on that live stream. That kind of got ended because my phone got too hot. But I went back out and I was talking about, I dropped the powder charge much lower, went back, gathered velocity and pressure data. Things went great. It was a good range trip. Went back out. I felt confident because I only loaded up like 5. So I felt confident I could go out, load up a few more. Yeah, and the ejector mark, dude, I was way over pressure, with N560. And so with the Barnes 160 grain TSX. Well, so I went out, I dropped the charge weight way down by like 10 grains, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was by like 10 grains. And got into some more reasonable and acceptable velocities and pressures, and loaded up 5, shot them, was happy with that. Went back, loaded up 5 more and shot them, and I was happy with that as well. I ended at like 60.5 grains. I started at 64.5. That's the one that blew this primer. And I ended my last test at 60.5. Well, I was checking to see point of impact versus point of aim, right, on how, because they were loaded at different charge weights. I loaded up 5 at different charge weights at, I think it was 60.5, 60, 59.5, 59, and like 58.5 or whatever it was. And I wanted to check to see where the point of impact was for all of those 5. And the first one was kind of high. The next 4 dropped down and basically grouped together. I mean, pretty tight, less than an inch. They were all grouped together on those next 4 charge weights. So what I did, I went back, loaded up 3-shot groups at each one of those charge weights, went out, shot the groups. The first group, I think it was like 58.5 maybe, or no, 59. Didn't shoot that great, but then the next 3, the last 2 shot extremely well. Even the second one shot okay, but the last 2, I think it was 60 and 60.5 maybe. Those shot really well. Keep in mind 3-shot groups, but that can tell you enough, to be honest with you, for the type of shooting that, because actually I'm loading this for a friend, and the type of shooting he's going to be doing, shooting whitetail deer in Alabama, those groups were perfect. So I loaded up more of those. Got to go back and test those out, see how they do. But I'm really hoping that I can find something pretty quick with that project. I'd like to get it off my plate, get it back to him. By the way, refresh my memory, what is the plan on the 280 Ackley? Oh no, it's I'm gonna leave it in that Tikka because I've got that laminate stock. So I've got that Tikka T3X where it's stainless and it has that really nice laminate stock. So I like the way that thing looks and feels. So I'm gonna leave the stock as is. That's my plan. Funis, I had to jump my 168s and the 7PRC to almost 200 thou out of the land so that it wouldn't pick up extra pressure from them. Unfortunately, that limited case capacity. Yeah, at that point, you know, if you have to do stuff crazy like that to the point where you're now restricting the performance of, you know, the super awesome cartridge, it makes it not as super awesome anymore. So Funis could see on the lab radar exactly where the contact on the land stopped by velocity. So yeah, got a lot of stuff kind of coming up that I'd like to be working on, but I gotta get these projects cleared out. Like I've got a 30-30 Winchester project for my dad that I've got to get that that thing knocked out. I'll be loading the Barnes 150 grain TSX bullet in that one, the one that's actually designed for 30-30. So it's got that really massive hollow point on the front end. Oh, yeah. No, I'm gonna leave the. I'm just gonna use the factory Tikka stock because I've got the Tikka T3X with the laminate stock, so it's that really nice, because it's the stainless model is the one that I've got, and it's got that really nice like green laminate stock, kind of, I don't know what, greenish gray, maybe whatever color stock, and it looks really sweet against that stainless, and I really like the look of that, and I like the feel of that stock, so I'm gonna leave the stock the same. So it'll be factory Tikka action with the trigger and the factory Tikka stock. So that's what I'll. So really, I need him. I want to get Meredith to rebarrel it and bed the rifle and just how he will handle the. Okay, yep. Yeah, and really that's it could change, right? That is my plan. Not saying that that's exactly what's going to happen, because once I get over there and I talk to him and say, hey, here's my plan, what do you recommend, right? I mean, he's the professional, not me. So I want to make sure that I'm set up for success, right? That's going to be the big thing. So if he's like, no, you really need to go a different route, I'll do that. Funis 60-ish feet per second deviation with barely touching the lands at all to completely out. And then can start to increase powder till case capacity bad. That's why we need the 150 grain available for hand loaders. If using factory Tikka stock reach it. Okay, yeah. Yep, that's the plan. Is to just get the whole package over there to him, which again, I've got to get this per diem money in before I do anything. So from my last trip, my last TDY, so once I get that in, I will be able to hopefully make a decision one way or the other on how I'm gonna, you know, if I want to take some of that money and go hand it to Meredith and say, hey, go ahead and get this 280 going, get it up and running, let's get the project moving. Or if I want to buy a suppressor or buy a new gun entirely, who knows? We'll see. Oh, okay. Or get a carbon fiber stock he can work with due to the pre-turned barrel or pre-turned blank you have. At Funis said at Derek 24-inch from a blank. I recommend you stop by AG and see if they are still around 14-week turn and go that route. Yeah, that would be nice because I've got that AG already on my Remington 700, and that they make the best carbon fiber stocks. They also make fiberglass stocks now, which are cheaper than their carbon fiber stocks. Still top of the line quality, but if you're interested in a fiberglass stock, I would hit up AG Composites or carbon fiber, either one. I need to hit up Matt. I need to shoot him a text and be like, hey, I want to build a 280 Ackley and I want to get an AG composite stock for it. Can you jazz up a fiberglass option? Maybe I'll go that route. See what they come up with. Funis learned that with the 6.5, folks getting 6.5 PRC and can't beat the speed of a 6.5 Cree with a 24 incher. Oh yeah, they get a 20-inch PRC. Yeah, exactly. That always cracks me up. People that'll go and get an awesome cartridge and then they'll limit it because maybe, like you're saying, maybe the barrel, maybe the length of barrel, right? They don't really get, because I think that's partly to blame though, is this whole push by everyone and their brother. Oh man, you got to hunt suppressed, it's the greatest thing ever, which I'm sure it is. Shooting suppressed is awesome. Love it. It's amazing. Been there, done that, and it is super awesome. But what people tell you to do is, well, you got to chop that barrel. You got to get as short a barrel as you can get because you're going to throw a suppressor on there. So you got to do that. Well, then you get a 6.5 PRC and you chop that barrel and you suppress it. And then you're like, well, dude, I'm shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor now. So, yeah, you got to think about that. Derek said the issue with pre-turned blanks from all the barrel makers is they make a standard. These will not work in a factory Tikka stock. Okay, well, that's good to know. Derek, but I have more barrels on order that will be cut in a factory Tikka contour. I can trade you. No, I think this gives me a good excuse to get another AG composite stock, because I've been looking for a good excuse to get another one of those. Those things they're phenomenal stocks. Absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, it for the money, like I know they're expensive, but I promise you, I've been to their facility. I've literally watched them manufacture stocks. It is the amount of craftsmanship that goes into making their stocks. It's the reason why. I mean, the attention to detail and the quality. That's why they cost what they cost, right? They're absolutely phenomenal. So, I mean, I'd put their stock on everything I owned if I could afford it, but I can't afford it. So, but yeah, that's kind of the plan. My phone's starting to get still all right. It's not too bad. It's getting a little warm, but not bad enough. Need to run the air conditioner over it again. But yeah, that's the plan. Get that 280 Ackley jazzed up. Definitely not going to have it done in time for hunting season, I don't think. I don't think that'll. Off subject, did you see Thompson Center is being revitalized? Yes, and I am such a huge fan of that because I have a Thompson Center Icon chambered in 30 TC, and that Thompson Center Icon is an amazing bolt action rifle. I mean, that thing is awesome. So I'm so glad that somebody went in, because I can't think of the guy's name, went in, bought Thompson Center, and now he's trying to bring it back to its former glory. That's awesome. We need more stuff like that to happen. Derek, here's the best part. Any stock you get cut for a Tikka T3X action will fit any T3X action, bedded or not. You can get multiple. Yeah, that'd be nice. And just one stock, just swap out the barreled actions. Yep. Yeah, I know. It's really exciting to see something like that take place, right? Where somebody steps in and says, look, this is a brand that I want to return to its former glory. It was absolutely destroyed after Smith & Wesson took over. You know, I want to step in, I want to make this right, and let's get this thing back running. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. More stuff like that should happen. For great, you know, great American brands, stuff like that should take place. So something like, you know, like what happened to Remington, right? That would have been awesome. Somebody could have stepped in and be like, nah, we ain't doing this. Plus P can help with the velocity on short barrels. Yep. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that Thompson Center stuff because, like I was saying, that Icon bolt action rifle, it was the first one, it was the first bolt action rifle they ever made. And it was in the early 2000s when they came out with it. And you go and read about it and read some of the people that helped engineer that thing. You're talking about George Gardner, right? Like the guy, I think, that developed 6.5 Grendel and I think 6GT and all this other stuff. I mean, GA Precision. Like, the dude is a wizard. And he was on the design. He was a design, part of the design team for that bolt action rifle. It's just, it's a great, man, it's a great gun. They hit a home run with it. So hopefully they can get back to, former glory. But that's similar to, you know, a non-firearm related industry, like the textile industry, right? You see the stuff with Origin, Jocko, and those guys where they went and bought a, what was it, like a boot factory up in Maine or something like that, and they started making boots and clothes and everything, trying to, you know, basically bringing back that made in America type stuff. That's pretty cool. I'm a fan of that. It's what we need more of. Part of the problem, especially in the firearms industry, part of the problem that you have is more of like you get more of a conglomeration of brands, and you get basically that stuff taking place where, you know, kind of like Federal, right? You've got Federal, Spear, CCI, you've got all these brands that kind of fall up under an umbrella of a conglomeration, and then it just kind of, it can go south, in my opinion. It can go south. On a sidetrack, recently confirmed my suspicion that Hornady is making their own are you saying large rifle primers? Oh, okay. Hornady makes their own large rifle and large rifle Magnum primers. I'm assuming that's what you... That's interesting. So they make their own, they actually make them in-house, or do they have somebody else make them for them? And they're allocated like, hey, we get top priority, right, because we're ordering so many from you. We bought so many, so we're first in line, you know, because I could definitely see that happening too. Maybe they use, you know, whatever, CCI primers. First learned about it because they had explosion in their manufacturing facility. That was on the news. Second, it was just confirmed in a podcast. Oh, okay. Hornady is huge. I'd not be surprised if they brought, yeah, because they actually, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. They didn't start making their own brass until, what was it, like the 90s or something? It was like the 90s maybe, I think, when they actually started making their own brass. For a long time, they didn't even make their own brass. They were solely a bullet manufacturer is what they focused on. Then they slowly acquired, you know, like reloading equipment and that type of stuff. I think it was like Was it Pacific or something like that? I can't think of all the brands, but they basically started adding pieces over time. But yeah, they didn't start doing their own brass until like the 90s, I think, or something like that. Explains why there's no shortage of Hornady on the market. Yeah, between that, which they could probably afford to bring everything in house with their insanely good marketing team and everyone being convinced that that's all they ever need to buy. They probably do pretty well as a company, if I had to guess. Derek, just after COVID peak, I was on the phone with them, was told we never close and we are hiring. Even though they have to buy the competition's Winchester Stayball HD powder to do it. There you go. 3 full-time shifts. Oh yeah, I mean, well, and that's part of it too. Like, you know, they're running wide open nonstop. So that's why I'm saying I definitely think you're going to see bullet prices drop back down. You know, you're going to see bullet prices drop back down because these companies have been like nonstop producing bullets for the past 4 years now, wide open as much as they can make, because demand has just been insanely high. Excuse me. And now you're starting to see a lot of stuff sit on the shelves and collect dust. So you're starting to see a lot of online retailers, Midway and those other guys, they're running sales on bullets constantly, trying to clear out bullet inventory because they're being produced at like breakneck speed. And you're definitely going to see that more and more with primers as more primers start to come online, like that. Somebody mentioned it earlier, that White Place, whatever, facility that's up and producing primers now or whatever. You start to see more and more stuff come onto the market. Yeah, competition, that's what you need. You need more competition. You need more product on the shelves from other sources. And the moment you have that, that's when prices start to get impacted, right? When stuff starts to sit, you'll see more and more price adjustments. Hudson, what's going on, Hudson? The reason Hornady has no shortage is strictly because of how expensive it is. That's funny. Yeah, they charge a pretty penny for some of their premium stuff for sure. Derek, I'm noticing a lot more Sierra, Spear, Woodley bullets on the shelf. Oh man, I'd like to find some Woodley bullets on the shelf for sure. I shot some of their 180s in my 270 Winchester back a few years ago. I had a Steyr Pro Hunter. Yeah, I had a Steyr Pro Hunter chambered in 270 Winchester. The Steyr Pro Hunter, from what I can tell, is like the only factory bolt action rifle chambered in 270 Winchester with a 1 8.5 inch twist barrel. It's a 1 8.5 from the factory. And I was stabilizing the 180 grain Woodley bullets. I was shooting 1 inch groups with it. Now I was at like, 2,400 feet per second. But still, that was pretty cool. Derek, what I found to be a bargain was on American Reloading Prime Federal Brass. Oh yeah, that stuff. I bought a bunch of that primed Federal Brass. Yeah, you're right. Dirt cheap for what you pay for it. Like, you guys, I'm telling you, you got to go check out American Reloading and see what they have. Again, not affiliated with them at all. They're just an amazing place to go find really good deals. You sign up for their email, they will send you about 5,000 emails a day, it seems like. But I mean, if you jump on there, they got something you need or you want, it's going to be priced very reasonably because they run sales all day, every day. What do you want? Oh, on the Woodleys. I don't know. On the Woodleys. I would like to shoot some more. That's the only Woodley I've ever shot, was in that 180 grain in the 270. I'd like to try them more on game, kind of like North Fork bullets. I want to try those as well. I haven't ordered any of those, but I definitely need to. Buck Hunter. I've been seeing those Gen X large rifle primers. Anyone else use them? I know American Reloading sells them, so yeah, I'm sure somebody's had to have used them at this point because they've been selling them for a long time. Funis said yes to that. Those primers are a bit stiffer to seat because of a harder alloy, but I've had no fail to fire. I use them in 22-250. Have to work up a load with them. Your CCI Federal primer load data won't work well. Okay, so basically, if you swap over to those, you're just gonna have to redo your load workup. I mean, I would expect that. Yeah, Derek said that was a total score on the Federal Prime brass. I bought hundreds of 270 Prime brass, and Federal primers are my favorite. Yeah, because they come with Federal primers, so that was you got 12,000. Holy crap! Oh, you got 12,000 of the primers? I thought you were talking about 12,000 pieces of brass. I was like, good night. I didn't even know they had that much. 18 wheels. Hey, what's going on, buddy? Glad you could join us. Hudson can never have enough ammo. Every time a shortage comes along, it's a wake-up call to a lot of people. I definitely need to start reloading. Yeah, you do. Let me check. Yeah, my phone's starting to get hot again. Y'all stand by. Let's get the AC going on this thing so it don't shut down my stream again like it did the other night. I was parked in the shade for the most part for most of the evening over here. Where was the primer deal? Oh, they were talking about the primers over at let's see. So Derek picked up 1,200 of the, I guess, Fiocchi, I guess that's how you say it, large rifle primers locally. They had roughly 200,000. So Derek's up in Ohio, for anyone wondering. They were also talking, they were asking 18 wheels, somebody was asking if anyone had ever used those Gen X primers that you see on American Reloading. You know, they're selling a lot of those or whatever. Somebody was just asking if anyone had used those yet, if they had any issues. But Funis, I think that's how you say it, he said that he's been using them in 22-250 and he hasn't had any issues yet. He's been using the large rifle Gen X primers with no issue. So now, of course, you know, you can't just swap the primer and expect your load that you've worked up with something like a CCI to be the same. You're gonna have to do load development, but still, it's good to have options. But yeah, Hudson, you need to start reloading. You just need to go ahead and do it. At least start picking up, like, you know, some equipment here and there. If you see stuff on sale or whatever the case may be, you know, start picking up a few things here and there. Obviously, save your brass. That's step one. That could be essentially free. You bought it, but you know, that'd keep you from having to buy more brass. You could just keep loading what you got already. So that's really a good first step. That's what I try to tell people. Like, hey, whenever you go shoot, just keep your brass. Just start piling it up. But yeah, I think one of the things that a lot of people kind of jumped on board with during the COVID thing and all that, once they were like, oh man, I really need to get into reloading, they wanted to have the ability to make their ammunition because they couldn't find it, right? You couldn't buy it in the store, you couldn't buy it online. So just having the ability to make it yourself is a really big deal. Derek, what I'm wondering is if you have a case that the primer pocket is loose, Would it be okay for a stiffer seating primer? My guess is yes. I'm going to watch for that. 18 wheels. Oh, nice. Yeah, my buddy has used them quite a bit in 308 for an AR-10. They're basically a Magnum primer. I have 10K of them, but I haven't built a load with them yet. Oh, okay, that's good to know. Funis at Derek, yes, at least 2 more firings. Hudson, I got a buddy that inherited an entire shed full of reloading equipment and brass. He doesn't even know what all he has. We're supposed to go through it pretty soon. I plan on buying everything he has. That is a good plan. So I would definitely do that. That's one of the best ways to acquire stuff. Like, you can go watch Reloading Quest on YouTube. That dude, I was messaging him back and forth a little bit not too long ago, and he had come across, like, I think a couple of estate sales or something like that. And I mean, he loaded up. He was able to absolutely kill it on a couple of purchases that he made on secondhand stuff, right? I think somebody either passed away or somebody just getting out of it altogether, something like that. I mean, you can definitely find a lot of good stuff that way. Derek said at Funis, that's what I'm thinking. Makes me a bit frustrated though because of all the brass. I've pitched after about 3 or 4 firings, but I do load hot. That RCBS primer seating die is really dirt cheap and will give you the adjustment range you want. Yeah, if you're loading hot, I don't typically load hot. Now I will definitely load. I'll test up pretty hot, right? That's evidence there. I'm definitely not afraid to test up to that point. Load stuff pretty hot just to kind of see what things look like. But yeah, for my hunting loads and stuff I just go out and try to test. I mean, I've done it in the past, like with 6 ARC, I've really pushed it pretty hard. Let's see what else. I think I've pushed 308 pretty hard in the past. Yeah, there've been a couple of cartridges where I've really hammered down, but for the most part, I try to dial it back a little bit. You know, don't stomp on it too bad. Don't blow the pockets out either. Loading the primer's flush and leaving a gap. You want to measure and seat to touch the bottom of the pocket. I test till the rifle tells me it's at its limit. More often than not, my experience is the hotter it is, the more accurate. I'm a total stomper, lead foot. That's funny. Yeah, well, I mean, but if you're shooting a lot of solid coppers, I mean, or at least that's what I hear, right? I hear a lot of that on the interwebs and forums and on the YouTubes and different things from other people that load, you know, Barnes bullets. The hotter you go, the better they perform. So, and even Ryan mentioned that on that Vortex podcast where they had the Barnes guys on there when I was listening to it today. He made reference to that it seems like it does shoot better. The Barnes bullets, in his experience, shoot better the higher he goes in charge weight, right? The higher he goes in pressure, the better they shoot. So that's been my experience at 270 Winchester. The 129 grain LRX and the 130 tip TSX, all that stuff that I've shot in the past, it definitely shoots, in my experience, it shot better the higher I go. Chris said, I'd agree most of mine shoot best at max. Derek, most of mine shoot best at or near that rifle's max, which is frequently over or well over what book max is. Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, everything's so unique and there's so many variables that go into it. You really got to, you know, figure it out for yourself because your rifle is an individual, right? So you just got to test. Let's see, case in point, my son's Tikka 270 is shooting 150 Nosler AccuBonds over nearly 60 grains of H4831 shortcut. You're about at that charge weight in a 270 Winchester. You should be up into the neck, or just about up into the neck on the brass with the powder. I was at 61.5 grains of 4831 shortcut. For the, what was it? What did I load up? I think it was might have been the McGuire Ballistics 128 grain Copper Rose Hollow Point. That load was pretty crunchy. I mean, it was crunchy. Yeah, had that stuff packed in there. 18 wheels, Barnes like to jump to. My hog loads are loaded with 195 thousandths of jump. Derek, I think book max for the shortcut is roughly 55 to 47. Yeah, with that 150, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. 55 to 57. At 18 wheels, they do, and they almost need it for you not to build excessive pressure. Can't seat them hard onto the lands like a cup and core. But yeah, the Barnes bullets, well, and two, so I think with Barnes though, it is a little bit different, simply because, you know, for most people, if you're a hand loader, you're gonna want to push the Barnes bullet as hard as you can, because basically you're giving up downrange El Chupa goats. Hey, so for those of you that don't know, and I know I didn't pronounce that right, I know, because I'm from Alabama and I talk like I got marbles in my mouth, but reconnect. It keeps dropping my connection for some reason. Okay, keeps dropping my connection for some reason. Every time I try to tell y'all to go subscribe to El Chupa Goats, or I think that's how you say it. Again, got marbles in my mouth, so pretty sure I ain't saying it right. But he puts out, he just commented what's going on in the live stream here, and he puts out, I'm subscribed to his channel. I really like the content he puts out, so keep up the great work. I appreciate it. You guys need to go check him out as well. He puts out some great videos. They're much more polished than any of the stuff that I put out. I'll tell you that right now. Derek, I've noticed extremely impressive ES and SD with Barnes bullets if I use Froggy's lube in the case neck. I've never used any type of case lube or anything like that. 18 wheels, El Chupa Goats in the house. What's up, man? Yeah, he does, Derek. No, he does some great shooting content. Yeah, that's the thing. Like he's got a ton of great videos testing a lot of really good, like it was a huge range of factory rifles, factory ammunition. He's tested hand loads. So yeah, he puts out a lot of really good stuff. So you guys need to go subscribe. He makes really good videos. So shout out to him. Keep up the great work. But yeah, 270, I've definitely noticed where the Barnes bullets, you know, I step on it in 270 Winchester. I don't know why. That is one of those cartridges that I do kind of stomp on it a little bit. Not exactly sure why, but I do. Like right now, I'm testing Midwest Powder's MP620, which is an equivalent to Reloader 19, and I'm testing that powder in 270 Winchester with 130 grain bullets, like 4 or 5 different kind of bullets, and I'm at like 3250 with 130 grain bullet. You know, I'm pushing it hard. So, well, looks like soccer practice is over. So, Joe, bro, you're awesome. Keep doing it. I appreciate it.
road tomorrow.
It's hot out there, ain't it?
Yes, and the 400 things you made us do.
Yeah, well, you'll be all right. All right, well.
Goodbye.
Adios, folks. So, yeah, I got the boss with me now. Time to head to the house. So, I appreciate all you guys tuning in. I really do appreciate it. It was good to see a couple of guys for the first time jumping in El Chupa Goats. It was, yeah. Hopefully you didn't just join. If you did, yeah, we've been at it for a hot minute now. It's time to head to the house, get some dinner. But good to see you, man, and keep up the great work. I really do appreciate all the content you're putting out. It's really good stuff. So again, appreciate everybody stopping by to chat, basically keeping me company on this Monday afternoon. So we'll catch you guys next time. Oh, I appreciate that, Hudson. Trust me, you're going to be, please have extremely low expectations. If you subscribe to my channel with super low expectations, you won't be too disappointed. So we'll catch y'all next time.